Hi guys, and welcome back to the Elsie McClure version. We're in John, the last chapter of John, chapter 21. All right, verse 1. After this, Jesus revealed himself again to the disciples by the Sea of Tiberias, and he revealed himself in this way. Simon Peter, Thomas, called the twin, which he keeps saying that, Nathanael of Cana in Galilee, the sons of Zebedee, and two others of his disciples were together. Man, why didn't he name the last two? Interesting. Simon Peter said to them, I am going fishing. They said to him, we will go with you. They went out and got into the boat, but that night they caught nothing. Sound like a familiar story? We didn't read it in this one, but in the past, in the other Gospels, they didn't catch anything all night. They threw their nets out. They caught all this fish. Anyway. Verse 4. Just as day was breaking, Jesus stood on the shore, yet the disciples did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to them, children, do you have any fish? Now, if you study it, apparently the disciples were more teenagers in age. I don't know. I also don't know how they got that information, but hey, I'm not a freaking theologian, so I don't know. But I think it is hilarious that Jesus referenced them as children. That is hysterical to me. They answered him, no. He said to them, verse 6, he said to them, cast the net on the right side of the boat and you will find some. So they cast it, and now they were not able to haul it in because of the quantity of fish. That disciple whom Jesus loved, John, therefore said to Peter, it is the Lord. When Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he put on his outer garment, for he was stripped for work, and threw himself into the sea. Now, there are some people who believe that the reason Peter put his outer garment on was because he thought he might be able to walk on water to go to Jesus, because he'd done it in the past. I don't know why Peter put his outer garment on before he jumped in the water. John makes it seem like he wasn't wearing enough clothes. So I don't know. But that's a fascinating little nugget there. Okay, verse 8. The other disciples came in the boat, dragging the net full of fish, for they were not far from land, but about 100 yards off. No idea how far that is, honestly. I guess that's like a football field or something. Verse 9. When they got out on land, they saw a charcoal fire in place, and the fish laid out on it and bread. Jesus said to them, bring some of the fish that you have just caught. Did Simon swim the boat? Doesn't say. That's interesting. Verse 11. So Simon Peter went aboard and hauled the net ashore full of large fish, 153 of them. It's a lot of fish. And although there were so many, the net was not torn. I mean, pop off. Would it be a real miracle if the net had been torn? I mean, it still would have been, but that's just a little glimmer of Jesus is intentional and he goes above and beyond, okay? He doesn't have to do miracles. Remember that. He does not have to do anything. When he made you, when he made the earth, when he sent his son, God doesn't have to do nothing. Keep that in mind. Everything God does is intentional and on purpose, and he does not make mistakes. Jesus said to them, verse 12, come and have breakfast. Now none of the disciples dare ask, who are you? They knew it was the Lord. Correct. Jesus came and took the bread and gave it to them, and so with the fish. This is now the third time that Jesus was revealed to the disciples after he was raised from the dead. Man, I probably would miss him so much, though. After spending all that time with him, and then you only got to see him like every so many days. I wonder what he was doing. Because he hadn't gone back to the Father yet. What was Jesus doing in that time? Were there other people he was visiting that we just don't know about? Was he preaching anymore? Was he just spending time by himself? That's interesting. Verse 15. When they had finished breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? He said to him, Yes, Lord, you know that I love you. He said to him, Feed my lambs. He said to him a second time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? He said to him, Yes, Lord, you know that I love you. He said to him, Tend my sheep. He said to him a third time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was grieved because he said to him the third time, Do you love me? And he said to him, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. Jesus said to him, Feed my sheep. It's interesting because Jesus says, Feed my lambs, meaning children, right? Like, or maybe new believers. And then tend my sheep. And then feed my sheep. Which is fascinating because that would maybe considered more mature believers. And I know, like, a lot of, this is like the reinstating of Peter because he denied him 3 times and then he's now said 3 times, do you love me? That had to be pretty painful. Like if you're sitting with one of your best friends and they're like, hey, do you love me? And you're like, yes, of course I freaking love you. Then they're like, okay, we'll do this. And then it's like, do you love me? That just must have been hard. Glad he did it, but must have been hard. Verse 18, truly, truly, I say to you, when you were young, you used to dress yourself and walk wherever you wanted. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands and another will dress you and carry you where you do not want to go. This he said to show by what kind of death he was to glorify God. And after saying this, he said to him, follow me. See, you can tell that John wrote this later because he knows how he dies. Peter turned and saw the disciple whom Jesus loved following them. I love that John says that. Like, he wants you to never forget. He is the one that Jesus loves. And the reality is Jesus loved all of them, right? But John wrote the book, so he gets to say how he wants to describe himself. And he never mentions his name. But it's like, it's kind of like saying, oh, my husband, his wife, like referring to it in an intimate, more like personal relationship instead of just like such and such. Like, it would be the difference between me being like my husband or Freddie James, right? I don't have a husband. I don't know a Freddie James. The point remains is it's more of an intimate relationship to say like that title that they are to you versus their name sometimes. Okay. Let's read that again. Verse 20. Peter turned and saw the disciple whom Jesus loved following them, and the one who also had leaned back against him during the supper and said, Lord, who is it that is going to betray you? That's hysterical. Why did he bring that up again? Like, in case you were wondering, he's like connecting stuff. That's so strange. Also, I guess Peter and Jesus had been walking and John was just like following after him. That's funny. Jesus, when Peter saw him, he said to Jesus, Lord, what about this man? Jesus said to him, if it is my will that he remain until I come, what is that to you? You follow me. And you know what? That's right. What is it? What somebody else's calling is. Okay? Don't be out here comparing yourself. Don't ask the Lord about other people. Mind your business and follow the Lord. That's what you're called to do. You're not called to know these other things. Follow the Lord. Because he has a special call for your life. And your life specifically. And he's giving you grace for that call. He's not giving you grace for somebody else's call. So if you look at somebody else's life and you're like, I don't understand how they do it. Yeah, because you don't got grace for it. Verse 23. So the saying spread abroad among the brothers that this disciple was not to die. Yet Jesus did not say that to him. He would say that to him that he was not to die. But if it is my will that he remain until I come, what is it to you? This is the disciple who was bearing witness about these things and who has written these things. And we know that his testimony is true. So again, he's saying, John. I love that he says that. He's like, yo, just in case anybody was wondering, let me squash the rumor now. He didn't say that. He didn't say that. And I was there. Good for him. Kind of funny, though. Anyway. Verse 25. This might be one of my favorite verses in John. Now, there are also many other things that Jesus did, where every one of them to be written, I suppose that the world itself could not contain the books that would be written. That's how he ends it. Like, what a freaking banger of an ending. Like, John, yes. I love that book. It's been wonderful these last 21 days. And we will be starting Acts next. So, you guys have fun. See you tomorrow.